The elites, everybody, the elites, the wealthy, those in power. That's who we're going after today. And Elon Musk did too. So we're going to cover that here today on Speechless. Okie dokie, everybody. Let's get right on into it, right on the radio. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Speechless. I'm your host, Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student, soon to be graduate of Illinois State University, and with degrees both in marketing and political science. In fact, next week will be my last live show. So please make sure that you tune in, not only for today from 3 to 5, but also next week from 3 to 5, because next week I do have a lot of fun things planned, and it's going to be very interesting. I also want to give a big shout out to Paul Garcia Productions out of Central Illinois. He does amazing work. He makes stunning and effective business videos for local businesses here in Central Illinois, and he's been a proud supporter of this show for a long time. So definitely go check out Paul Garcia Productions today if you want your business to get more business. Everybody, it has been such an honor for so long to host this show live, not only on the radio, but now also more recently on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble. So please make sure you go check us out there. Not only myself at Speechless with Kev, you can just Google that. And when you do go check that out, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff. Because you can see me live in studio and interact with me through that. And while you can always use our text or call lines at 309-451-9299, being able to interact with the comment section and join the movement that we are building is so important. That's why you can check out not only my channel, but we also got Ty Smith, Modern Renaissance Man. We have the DPB show. Just go look up the DPB show. You'll find him. Conservative Cat. She does great work. El Donzo and Deez, all of them. Definitely go check out all of our talent here from Cities 92.9. And I have so much to cover today, guys. We're getting into and going against the elites. Yes, the elites, because it's not only me that's doing it. It's not only us here at Cities. There's a lot of people that are joining this more populist endeavor to take down the elites as we know them. And so that's why there's a few other things that I also want to point out too. Another way that we're taking down the elites is at Illinois State University this Thursday at 7 p.m. Turning Point USA, my chapter of Turning Point USA, will be hosting Cabot Phillips of the Daily Wire, who will be coming to talk about media and the rise of alternative media, what the Daily Wire does, what he does. It's an amazing opportunity in Schrader Hall this Thursday at 7 p.m. I will make sure that goes up on our cities pages, on my personal pages. If you are in the Central Illinois, if you're in Illinois, period, and you can make it to that, it'll be a great time to get to talk and hear more from one of the leading content creators at the Daily Wire, Cabot Phillips. So that'll be awesome. But Elon Musk, this is my big story. This is my headline story. If you were following on Facebook, anything like that, then you'd be able to see that Elon Musk is who we're talking about, at least for a good majority of the show today. Elon Musk made remarks at the New York Times Dealbook Summit earlier this week, and it went viral. This is an annual summit that brings together business leaders, and several of them are interviewed on stage. Normally, it's not even really particularly newsworthy. Anytime you gather together a bunch of corporate CEOs and business owners, you typically get a lot of carefully choreographed language, similarly to that of like different political town halls. They want to make sure they walk on the eggshells to ensure that they are pushing the right messages that will increase their profit margins. It's all very brand safe by design. This year, however, it was much different. There was quite a stir being caused because of Elon Musk, person that's not shy to controversy in any way. During Musk's interview with the CNBC host, Andrew Sorkin, Musk was asked about the ongoing advertiser boycott of X, formerly known as Twitter, and whether Musk is desperate to win those advertisers back. Well, Musk had a very interesting response to Sorkin. So let's see. I got the video pulled up here. It's about a 5-minute clip. So, and a radio etiquette is that I don't play the whole video because obviously we want some commentary in there. So I'm going to cut it up a little bit to make sure that we can all take a look and a listen at what Elon Musk had to say at this. But I want to point out again that you can go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, any of that stuff, and be able to see exactly what I'm talking about here. So let's make sure, let's get this up here right now. I'm pulling up the audio so that you can hear it on the radio as well. Let's take a look and a listen.
You're clarifying this now.
Oh, it seems my
but there's a public perception that that was part of a clarifying this now. But there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go fuck yourself.
Whoa. Hello.
But
go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
well, let me ask you then.
That's how I feel. Don't advertise.
How do you think then about the economics of X? If part of the underlying model, at least today, and maybe it needs to shift, maybe the answer is it needs to shift away from advertising. If you believe that this is the one part of your business where you will be beholden to those who have this view, what do you do?
Why?
GFY.
I understand that, but there's a reality to
Okay, so there's more to this. So we're going to cover this whole video because this is probably the best 5 minutes I've ever seen when it comes to calling out corporate media and everything, because it's so much deeper, and Musk goes into a little bit more. But I want to start off with just a little bit of context. As of right now, the list of advertisers boycotting X includes more than 100 companies, including some of the largest corporations in the planet. Now, why are they doing this? Simply put, because they disagreed with something that Musk did on his platform, one way or another. Musk has, like I've said, been no stranger to controversy, oftentimes taking more conservative approaches on most issues. Some are not even necessarily conservative or liberal, just controversial in general. And one of the most recent that caused many to pull out was Musk responded favorably to a tweet that had an anti-Semitic sentiment. Musk has voiced his regret for this post, and to me, that's not really even what matters, any of that. I don't agree with what Musk said in this specific tweet, and it doesn't even matter. That's why I'm not even like pulling it up and reading it, because it doesn't really matter. I'm not quitting Twitter over it. By no means does my continuation of using this service serve as a form of condoning the behavior of its owner, as these advertisers would in some way say. However, I do condone and exalt his telling advertisers basically to go to hell. For several reasons. First off, this is more than unconventional. This instance of what Elon is saying is more than unconventional for the business world. Traditionally, the owners of major corporations do not stand on pretty much any kind of principle, especially on this stage where Elon was. Their principle tends to be what grows the business and grows its revenue, which is understandable to an extent. And when I say grows its revenue, I want to be clear about something. It doesn't even necessarily say that what any business is doing is favorable to the public. It's not about what's favorable to the public. I've talked about this multiple times. Bud Light going and having Dylan Mulvaney as an influencer wasn't about being favorable to the public. Target with all their woke LGBT crap. It's not about what's favorable to the public, because overall what it is, who it's favorable to are the large hedge funds that we know about. BlackRock, Vanguard, etc. Those are the people that are going to drive more money into that business. And it doesn't matter whether or not it's favorable to you or me, because it's not about you or me. It is about the elites growing themselves. But that's why we don't usually even give a crap about the woke nonsense that's put out recently. However, standing on principle, as I said, is exactly what Musk did in this situation. That's why it is so unconventional. And mainstream media like Sorkin being the person that was interviewing him, certainly cannot conceive of anyone actually standing up to corporations like Disney. In fact, Musk even pointed out, he said, hi, Bob, who was likely in the audience, Bob Iger, the current CEO of Disney, basically waved at him and said, yeah, screw you. Don't advertise. Who cares? I also want to point out, I want to get back to the video here in a moment, but I also want to point out the fact that we have this same power, and we've kind of shown that. And in some ways, it's partially worked. When it came to Bud Light, just as much as Elon is saying, yeah, don't patronize my business if you don't like what I have to say, go F yourself. That's exactly what we can say to businesses that don't recognize, that don't represent what we believe in. It's exactly what we can say. And so thank God for Elon Musk for calling this out, but there's more that he has to say to call out our corporate overlords that are trying to limit free speech. And I'm going to touch on exactly what I mean by that, but let's keep listening a little bit more to this clip.
You, right?
Yes. No.
I mean, Linda
no,
Yaccarino's right here, and she's got to sell advertising.
Absolutely. So, totally. So, no. Actually, what this advertising boycott is going to do, it's going to kill the company.
And do you think that
and the whole world will know that those advertisers killed the company, and we will document it in great detail.
But those advertisers, I imagine, are going to say, we didn't kill the company.
Oh yeah.
They're going to say,
tell it to Earth.
But they're going to say, Elon, that you killed the company because you said these things, and that they were inappropriate things, and that they didn't feel comfortable on the platform, right? That's what they're going to say.
And let's see how Earth responds to that.
So okay, this goes back to
we'll both make our cases,
right?
And we'll see what the outcome is.
What are the economics of that for you? I mean, you have enormous resources, so you can actually keep this company going for a very long time. Would you keep it going for a long time if there was no advertising?
I mean, if the company fails because of an advertiser boycott, it will fail because of an advertiser boycott. And that will be what bankrupted the company, and that's what everybody on Earth will know.
What do you think then of the, this goes back to the idea of trust, though.
Then it'll be gone. And it'll be gone because of an advertiser boycott.
But you recognize that some of those people are going to say.
So here's what's going on right now, is the interviewer is trying to basically say, you're ending the company. It's because you are saying things that these companies disagree with that it will end. As what Elon's saying is, no, it's a lot more convoluted than that. My narrative, Elon's narrative, would be that that Twitter would end because advertisers did not buy advertising. The moderator is arguing that Twitter would end because Elon said things that forced these advertisers not to advertise. And Elon is then countering to that and saying, well, then that's what the court of public opinion will decide. And ultimately, the truth, the middle of all of it, will be that Twitter ended because of in this hypothetical, Twitter would end because of a advertiser boycott. Whether that's Elon's fault or the advertiser's fault is up to the public. But these people in the media, they believe that their narrative will be the prevailing one in the public opinion because they are so just, I'm going to get to more of it. Let's keep listening to the rest of this. I have more though. And man, it's going to blow your mind, everybody. Keep listening though.
That they didn't feel comfortable on the platform. And I just wonder and ask you and think about that for a second.
Tell it to the judge.
But the judge is going to be...
the judge is the public.
Not to this guy, though, because to him, the judge is the media, because the media will control the narrative, or at least attempt to.
You think that the public is going to say that Disney is making a mistake?
Yes.
And they're going to boycott Disney?
They already are.
They already are.
There are some that are for lots of different reasons, but you think that this is going to... that you have this goes to actually the interesting of power and leverage.
Let the chips fall where they may. Let the chips fall where they may.
Can I ask why that is the approach? And I ask it because you've been
What's the other approach? Well,
you've been very particular about the approach to Tesla. When you think about the engineering involved in that, the approach to SpaceX, the approach to some of the stuff you're doing with AI has been very specific, right? There's not a let the chips fall where they may approach to those businesses, I don't think.
No, we focus on making the best products. And Tesla's gotten to where it's gotten with no advertising at all.
I understand that.
Tesla currently sells twice as much in terms of electric vehicles.
He's talking, see, this is the thing that the media guy doesn't understand. He's talking about two completely different areas of business. You're trying to compare a car company to a place in which the free spread of ideas on Twitter is the entire purpose of the medium. So if you are going to have advertisers that say, we're not going to allow you to share your ideas, again, ones that I don't even agree with. But if you have advertisers that are going to dictate what you can and can't have on your platform, and the entire sale of the platform to its users is the fact that you can share ideas no matter how unpopular, then what is the point of the platform? This translates to a lot more, but there's about 30 seconds left in this clip, and we're about to go to a break. But listen to the rest of these 30 seconds. I'll wrap it up, and then we'll get into more of this.
As the rest of electric car makers in the United States combined, Tesla has done more to help the environment than all other companies combined. It would be fair to say that, therefore, as a leader of the company, I've done more for the environment than everyone else, any single human on Earth.
How do you feel about that? No,
How do I feel about that?
Yeah, no, I'm asking you personally how you feel about that, because we're talking about power and influence, and
I'm saying what I care about is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
People focusing on looking good while doing evil. F them is what Elon Musk said. He said F them to all the elites, to every single last one of them. And this has significant implications on legacy media exposing really what they do on these big fat cats that are running these multinational multi-billion dollar corporations, and how not only do they want to control the narrative, they want to control you. And I'm going to break that down and explain it to you in the next few segments here, everybody. But I got to take a break here on the radio. Everybody, don't forget to go check myself out, Speechless with Kev Phares, on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, all that fun stuff. All of our other cities hosts as well. Speechless with Kev Phares. We'll be right back with more after this. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Let's go through everybody that's going in here right now. Oklahoma chicken cam. Steelers are getting spanked. I haven't checked that one out as much. I got to be honest, I wasn't focusing as much on football this morning. I need to check my fantasy scores at some point. But thank you for joining. Let's see what else. JRC1, a blessed good afternoon, Kev. Not only over the past 7 decades, but especially over the past couple of decades, the differences of ideologies and life views are frightening. Absolutely. And thank you for joining. When you graduate, will you be taking speed? Yes, that's why I've been building YouTube and everything. Last week, I did my live stream from home. I will continue to do live streams from home and such, and other content over there. I will still have a radio show. It'll just not be live. It'll be pre-recorded through my YouTube content. So that's how that'll be. Speechless will stay around, though, as long as I can. Actually focusing on more growth for it, merchandise, registering as a business, a lot of other things. So a lot of stuff. Patty, thanks for joining. God bless you. Thank you, Demon Goral, who isn't real, for also tuning in. I'd like to think I'm saying some smart words, but the only thing I know is that I know nothing. The new standard, what would Elon do? Absolutely. I disagree with you that he's losing his mind, progressive American. Willie D, thanks for joining. If we all told the left to F themselves, we'd be in a better state as a society. In some instances, absolutely. Well done. Thank you very much. If we are to do something about anti-Semitism, aren't we also supposed to take resources away from those who spread it? This is too vague for me, because you should not take away the marketplace of ideas. The purpose of the First Amendment, I'm an adherent. I hate to say I'm a free speech adherent, because that would include direct incitations of violence, and I'm not for that. Never do I condone inciting or committing actual crimes. So, and that is not covered under the First Amendment. Incitations to violence directly. But if somebody has a stupid belief, they have every right to have it. I mean, over half the country voted for Joe Biden. So there's a lot of people that have stupid beliefs, and I'm not going to criminalize or say that they're not allowed to have it and they're not even allowed to talk about it in public forums. That's where I'm at with it, though. Let's see what else we got here. Demon Girl. That was funny. That was funny. Okay, I got to come back on the radio here. Let's cover more of this. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm your host, Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student out of Illinois State University, soon to be graduate. So excited. And just so you guys know, just because I'm graduating, just because next week will be my last live show on the radio, doesn't mean you can't still go check out all the different content that I'm going to continue to do on YouTube and Facebook and all that other stuff. Just look up Speechless with Kev. You'll find me. I'm right there, Speechless with Kev. And then when you go there, don't forget to like my videos, subscribe to the channel. Definitely subscribe so you never miss a minute of it. Ring that notification bell, hit it to all, comment what you think, and share it with your friends because we're building a movement here, guys. We've been building it through cities. We're also building it out onto all of our different platforms through the DPB show, all of our other conservative cat, modern Renaissance man. We're building a movement here against the lamestream media, and that's what people are calling out. Just like Elon Musk in the first segment, I discussed how Elon Musk has really been calling out the corporate overlords that are trying to dictate speech through threats of advertising, to which when Elon was asked about this, about an advertising boycott for many big businesses on X, formerly known as Twitter, he said, go F yourself. Now, the FCC won't let me be if I try to actually say the words he actually used, and that's why I had to even cut it in the video that I played of him saying it. But he said, go F yourselves. If I'm not allowed, and he even has voiced regret for some of the things that these companies are mad at him about, but who cares? In his own personal capacity, he should be allowed to say what he thinks. I am not against. He even pointed it out in the video. You should not be threatening somebody with your dollar to abandon something that they believe in. And anybody who were to abandon something that they believe in for $1 is corrupt. Just look at Congress. Seriously, just look at Congress. That's the majority of our representatives. So as I said earlier, this entire speech that he gave is incredibly unconventional for the business world. Traditionally, the owners of major corporations will never stand on principle, but that's exactly what Elon did. And that's why Sorkin, the person interviewing Elon, was dumbfounded when Musk said it. There was silence. He was like, I don't even know where to go from here. This is not what I was expecting. It wasn't a cookie cutter business professional response that I usually get from these money hungry elites. No, instead, most media companies like CNBC, who Sorkin works for, will kowtow to their corporate overlords. Think about it. They all have advertisers. They all have major corporate advertisers, many of which are boycotting X. So what they do is they pick and choose stories, and more importantly, they deny stories. They deny the public certain news based on advertising pressure, like gimps tied in the basements of these corporations that get whipped into a masochistic manipulation for the benefit of their profit builders. To the point that the lamestream media basically hosts daily suck-off sessions for big business that many of us eat up like it's an apple in the Garden of Eden. It happens all the time. Don't believe me? I have 2 words for you. Tucker Carlson. And that's exactly what Greg Gutfeld said last night on his show. And I'm going to play that for you guys in the next segment, but I do have to take a break here. So stick around because I'll be right back. And you got to know, Greg Gutfeld realizes it, and he called out Fox on their own network for it. And we're going to cover that here in the next segment and more on Speechless. Stay tuned. Oh, I'm getting into it, everybody. The pilot light's on. I'm turning up the heat. But that's what the media does. Is they go into the entire corporate media narrative. If not themselves, they're even owned by the corporations that are boycotting Twitter. So but all gloves are off now, guys. All bets are off. We're gonna get into more. What else are you guys thinking? I get taken off YouTube. Comment section has gone dry. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I don't see Andrea here. I hope she comes in later. She always spices things up a bit. Frog American still there. No, to me, this is a free speech thing. People are trying to threaten free speech with money. They're trying to threaten the free flow of ideas with money. And it's disgusting. And they don't even want you to know about it. I got some other things I'm covering in the show today too. I'm gonna keep bringing back quick hits because like there's always little stories that I find that I don't want to aren't gonna take up a long time. And so what I do is I'm putting them into quick hits, and I have I have 3 really good ones coming up. I'll probably do those near the end of this hour, if not the beginning of the next hour. That'll be a good one. Okay, see, here's the thing: is it's not. You can be mad that somebody says something that you disagree with. And I am not in any way condoning anti-Semitism. There's a crap ton of anti-white stuff that happens all the time. I mean, that's the shooting in Nashville was an anti-white shooting. If you look at TikTok, it is more than acceptable among our generation to hate white people, to use slurs against white people, to hate men, to hate straight people. All that kind of stuff pisses me off. But if you're going to say that, if you're going to try to like pull to ruin my life because I voiced an opinion that I disagree with you for, or you're going to try to in some way say, I'm not going to patronize certain things, you have every right to do that. But at the highest level, when they're trying to control, it's different on a individual scale. When they're trying to do it to the richest man, it's different when it's somebody between you and I. If you're trying to say that people cannot voice their opinions on a public platform and you're trying to threaten that with money, it's so scummy. And also, why don't they want a free flow of information? Absolutely, Shane. America is done for if we don't stand up. But everybody, I know that many of you are or that some of you are watching through Cities 92.9 stuff. That's great, but definitely make sure you go check out my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev Phares. That's where I post the majority of my content. Make sure, and not all of it goes on to City stuff. So make sure you check out my personal YouTube channel, my personal accounts, because that's where much more, especially after I'm done with my live show here, after I graduate, most of it will be migrating to that. And so it is a boycott, and it is protected by freedom of association. I'm saying that I disagree with the boycott, and I think that it has ill intent. Ill intent for the public. It's a populist standpoint. They have every right to boycott. I'm not saying that they don't. But I think that Elon Musk's response is perfect. Because the corporate media is trying to tell him that he should be scared and worried about the boycott. Why? Why? Why should he be scared? We're going to talk about that. Why should we be scared? We're going to talk about that too. We're going to come back here in about 15 seconds. Hey, and welcome back to Speechless. I'm your host, Kev Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student out of Illinois State University here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Next week will be my last live show in studio as I graduate in just about 2 weeks from now. And so I'll be graduating, guys, and I am so thankful for everything Cities has done. Next week will be my farewell show from being live in studio every week. I will still have live content and much more content coming out on my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev. So if you're a frequent radio listener, or even if this is your first time, make sure you go check out that YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev, because that's where I'm going to be doing. That's where most of my stuff is going to go from here on out. And I'm going to keep bringing it because there's a lot of things we got to expose. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. But I've been talking all about Elon Musk today and his message to our corporate overlords that want to control you. They do. They want to control you. And I've been laying out kind of my argument for that. But to help me recap it and recap a lot of what I've said, I'm going to bring on Greg Gutfeld from his show last night. Take a listen, look and a listen, a look if you're on YouTube, Facebook, anything like that. But if you're on the radio, take a listen to what Gutfeld had to say on his show last night in terms of this, because he gets it. He gets it. And he even calls out Fox on their own network. Take a listen.
It's like extorting Jerry Nadler.
My audio. I always mute my audio to make sure I don't mess something up, but now I got to unmute it. Here it is.
It's like extorting Jerry Nadler with salad. Or blackmailing sports fans by threatening to cancel PBS. The fact is, Musk may be the last man standing between real freedom of speech and the suffocating block of the censorship industrial complex, which is made up of government, media, and tech forces. He realizes that advertisers have no spine and can be easily cowed by special interest groups in cahoots with political allies. If you don't believe me, I got 2 words for you. Tucker Carlson.
Exactly. The audience was like silent. They were like, excuse me? And then even listen to the panel. Just listen. There's a few more seconds here.
Ooh,
Wow.
Look at that.
Room.
So he on Fox called out their firing of Tucker Carlson, which essentially happened for the same reason that Musk has a boycott against him. Tucker Carlson was a person that would go after just about anybody. And again, the most shocking part of all of that is that Gutfeld said that on Fox itself. Let's see how long he lasts there. But again, Tucker did exactly that. He didn't bow to advertisers. He reported the truth. And the elites who hate us, not just hate him, they hate us, don't like it. And why do I say they hate us? Because again, Tucker would tell the truth. He told the truth about Pfizer. He would tell the truth about George Floyd. He would tell the truth about just about anything. That's what he's still doing on Twitter. On the platform that advertisers are boycotting now. Why? Because an educated populace is harder to control. And at the same time, what was even more interesting when Musk said, go F yourself to these boycotting advertisers, is that he ultimately proved his own point through the media. Because the way that the corporate media responded to this and to what Musk did was they were universally outraged. They didn't even try to hide their disdain. Now, isn't that odd? Shouldn't the news report the news? Well, they should, but instead they don't. They report what they're told. Here's what happened from my point of view. Musk voiced an opinion, multiple opinions, that some businesses disagreed with. Those businesses decided not to advertise. Again, that's fine. But then they try to publicly share. And why do I say it's fine? Well, it's fine to an extent. It's fine to the fact of like, don't advertise if it doesn't represent your values, whatever. I get that because you also have the freedom of speech. But then they tried to drag him through the mud and publicly shame him, saying that he's the reason the business is failing, that it's all on him. And so when that's put all onto him, he says, don't advertise if you don't like it. F off. Stand on principles, have values. The news reported on it, but the same advertisers that are no longer on Twitter are still with the corporate media. They're still advertising with them. If not, they own the corporate media themselves. Think about it. Bezos owns WAPO. ABC is owned by Disney. Like, if not the owners of the media also have a stake in other areas of advertising. They're owned by the corporate media themselves. So, of course, the news, the lamestream media, are going to portray Musk in a negative light because they are still tied to in the basement as the gimps in the masochistic manipulation for the benefit of the profit builders, to the point that the lamestream media, like I said earlier, basically hosts daily suck-off sessions for their advertisers, for big business, that many of us eat up like it's the apple from the Garden of Eden, because essentially that's what it is. But think about it this way as well. Yes, they're taking the whip, but this is a threat to our freedom of speech, as Gutfeld pointed out a bit. Not only from the perspective that Twitter could ultimately shut down, and a place that's it's probably the closest thing to a free flow of information on the internet that we have, but also in the fact that corporations will force business owners at a personal level to submit to their will or potentially lose their business. Thank God for Elon Musk and this message, because if the elites and the corporations can control the richest person in the world, who also happens to be an African American, by the way, nobody will actually talk to you about that. But if the elites can control the richest person in the world, then they can control any of us, you or me. And in fact, to some extent, they already do control many of us. Those that actually blindly follow what they say are controlled. Our corporate overlords want to control speech, but they want to give the illusion that speech is free. They want you to believe that you're free to say what you want. But as soon as you exit the Overton window, or at least their version of the Overton window, then they'll threaten you. Control speech, control minds. Control minds, control the world. To them, all animals are equal. Some are just more equal than others. And big corporations are what will lead the new world order that we hear so often about. That's what we see in the World Economic Forum. It's a tie between government leaders being owned, bought and paid for, by big corporations. And this doesn't sound like your traditional conservative rant right here. I'm sure there's plenty of leftists that would agree with me on a lot of this. Now, my solution is different. We need to enable smaller businesses. We need to help smaller businesses. And we also need to do everything in our power, which will take a lot more. Big businesses boycott something, and that'll have a greater impact than 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000 people boycotting a business because of the flow of money. But if we can get enough people to boycott specifically targeted businesses for going woke, for threatening speech, as well as enabling small businesses and removing barriers to entry for small businesses, trust busting, allowing an actual free market, then we can take away the elite power. And that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And let me know in any way. You can let me know online if you think I'm wrong. All you got to do is you can go to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble. Comment what you think. You could also text or call in 309-451-9299. Any topic. If you call in and I've talked about a topic, and I might switch topics at some point. If I've talked about something and you want to call in and go back to something I've already talked about, that's perfectly fine. 309-451-9299 is that number, and you can do just that. But again, I will also, during the breaks, I check on the comment sections and everything in YouTube and all the other social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, all that stuff. And you can check out those as well. All you got to do is go check out Speechless with Kev Phares. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share all that fun stuff. And we will be back soon. Got more stuff to talk about, some quick hits in the news, some motivation for you guys, fact-checking a lie that was spread on social media by a lot of people, but especially Governor Gavin Newsom. So much more covered today on Speechless. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be right back. Okie dokie, everybody. I know a lot of times in my last segment of the hour, I do motivation, like a motivational segment. I still want to do a motivational segment today, but it'll probably be a little bit later. I'm going to do my quick hits in the next one because it's a little time sensitive, but look, this sucks, and I'm not condoning what they do in any way, but like I get death threats sometimes. I mean, like if you're gonna be, and it sucks, and it's not like it's not right. But if you're gonna put yourself in the public eye in any way, especially when it comes to controversial opinions, you kind of got to accept it. Accept that it's gonna happen. Not like accept their behavior. It's intolerable, but you got to accept that it's gonna happen. Absolutely, Mark. Thank you for tuning in. It is said that blood is thicker than water. How about truth? Truth being thicker. Yeah, not 100% sure what this is in reference to. Blood thicker than water usually just means that, or at least in the terms I've heard it, in that your bond in with your family is going to be much more stronger than somebody who's not family. But just be a duck, let it roll off your back like rain. That's what I do. Like the amount of hate I get it from a lot of people. Who cares? We'll be back soon, and I'll get these. I got some other stuff in the next hour that I'm going to cover. But we're going to do my quick hits. Quick hits. I have a prop for my quick hits today. You guys are going to love this. I'm so excited. This is probably going to be one of my favorite things I've ever done on air. I'm serious. Don't forget to share this video with your friends too, guys. If you guys got any friends that are available on Sundays from 3 to 5, or you think that they'd benefit from watching this at any other time, don't forget to share it with your friends, trying to grow the speechless nation, the speechless army, whatever you want to call it. I'm scared to use army just because I'm already probably on a government watch list somewhere. And so army might not necessarily be the best thing to keep me off other government watch lists. I mean, like, I just don't need bureaucracies knocking on my door anytime soon, you know? And as many of you guys know too, I am moving home. And so if there's any way that you'd be kind enough to consider supporting this show through Venmo, Cash App, Super Chats, anything like that, memberships, or you could always, if you want to get a shirt like this one, my Cancel Cult t-shirt, you can go to unitedmerch.com, use code speechless at checkout for 20% off. That's another way you can support the show and get something out of it. I also do plan on creating merch. I'm hoping to have that out in early 2024. So I just have to learn more about how to do that. But all of it'll help grow the business, make it so I can register this as a business, protect myself legally, among other things. So get equipment. It'd be very helpful. So thank you guys so much for all the support. And if those are not options, as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. That's another way that you can support it. Get it to as many people as possible so we can keep growing and letting people, shedding some light on the situations that we are going through here in the United States. We're about to come back. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. I'm your host, Kev Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student from Illinois State University, soon to be graduate of Illinois State University, and law school student in a little less than a year. So that's the plan right now, working on applications, all that fun stuff. Last segment of the first hour, I'll be here till 5 p.m. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And not only am I here on the radio, but you guys can also be tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble. All you got to do is look up Speechless with Kev. You can Google it. Speechless with Kev. First thing that'll probably come up is my YouTube channel. All you got to do is like, subscribe, comment, and share it, and never miss a minute of anything I talk about. And I've started something kind of new last week. Kev's Quick Hits. I don't know if that could be a working title. Might be something I'm going to work on a little bit more. But the quick hits, I got some quick hits, usually just some news stories that I don't necessarily have a bunch to get into with them, but I think are worthy of discussing and making sure that we have the facts on. The first one is Trump, presidential candidate, former President Trump, has been touting an endorsement from BLM, Black Lives Matter. Let's get down to the bottom of this. Out of the Daily Wire, former President Donald Trump touted an endorsement from a former leader of Black Lives Matter on Wednesday, saying that he was, quote, very honored to have received his endorsement, as well as BLM's support. Mark Fisher, who Fox News reported is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Rhode Island, told the network that the Democrat Party was, quote, not for black people and that they were hypocrites. Fisher said Trump had done more for black people than the Democrat Party has recently. And the activist also said earlier this month that he endorsed Trump because everybody else sucks. So with this one, to be clear, this guy, Mark Fisher, is not an active member of BLM. He is said and reported to have walked away and has become more vocal, if in fact, against BLM in the time. But it's still interesting to me that Trump himself has embraced this endorsement as a quote unquote BLM endorsement. It may just be Trump being funny. It could be. It could just him being funny, being like, like BLM is endorsing me and it's this former BLM guy. That's probably what it is. But personally, I'm not a big fan of framing it as a BLM endorsement. And I know that might not make, I know it's going against Trump, and I know a lot of the people that listen to me, it doesn't make me hate Trump by any means. I've been clear that he's not necessarily my number one candidate, but I'm not against him. I just don't love the optics of this because BLM, along with others like Barack Obama, basically set race relations back 50 plus years. So just to me, I don't like framing an endorsement from somebody who's a former BLM. Again, no problem with the endorsement or anything. Seems like the guy likes Trump. That's perfectly fine. But framing it as a BLM endorsement from Trump's standpoint, just not a big fan of it. All right, next quick hit. So you guys might have tuned in. I had a live stream for it on my YouTube channel. Governor Newsom debated Ron DeSantis the other day, basically exposing how much of a liar he was. And he exposed it even more out of the Daily Wire as well. California Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom's wife reportedly was the reason that the debate ended on Thursday night between himself and Governor Ron DeSantis. After the first 90 minutes of the debate were finished, moderator Sean Hannity said that he had more time to extend the debate. Both candidates had agreed before the commercial break to stay on, and Newsom said that he would, quote, be happy to do it. Behind the scenes, however, the Newsom team was reportedly furious over the outcome of the debate, with Newsom advisor Sean Clegg claiming the debate was rigged. Much of the reaction on social media to the debate was positive for DeSantis, but negative for Newsom. And during the break before the extended portion of the debate, Newsom's wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, entered the room and intervened to end the debate, NBC News reported, citing multiple sources with the DeSantis campaign and another source that was unaffiliated with either side. Now, part of this is exactly what I predicted on my live stream. No matter how bad Newsom performed, which, make no mistake, it was awful. Basically, they would show facts on the screen and Newsom would say, those aren't true, when they were from like the Associated Press or like federal agencies. He was like, those aren't true. No matter how bad he performed, because a conservative moderated his campaign and the lamestream media would continue to claim that it's rigged. And that's exactly what they did. So much so, it was so rigged and he lost so bad that Newsom got cucked by his wife into quitting while he was already down. Absolutely hilarious. Okay. And my last few minutes here, my last quick hit here, I think it's amazing. The United Nations wants us to eat less meat. An agency in the United Nations designed to lead international efforts to defeat hunger is reportedly expected to call on the West, including the United States, to reduce meat consumption to combat so-called climate change. The UN's Food and Agriculture Organization announced its plans to introduce a first-of-its-kind global food recommendation document at the Climate Change Conference, which is a 2-week summit that just began 4 days ago at the Expo City, Dubai, in the United Arab Emirates. The failure of leading meat and dairy companies to reduce emissions underlines the urgent need for more policy focus on the food and the agriculture sector. Jeremy Collar said. He is the chair and founder of the FAIR Initiative, an investor network that works with financial institutions to promote climate-friendly agriculture worldwide. Also, just so you guys know, according to the Daily Mail, the U.S. agriculture industry only accounts for 1.4% of global emissions and 10% of total greenhouse gas emissions. So, to the UN, no, we're not going to worry about China, who accounts for double the emissions of the U.S. annually. We're not going to worry about the leading industry for emissions, which is transportations. In fact, they themselves, those going to this conference, are ignoring transportation so much that these elitists are flying their private jets to the conference. No. So instead of worrying about any of those things, they're going to tell Americans, you and I, that I shouldn't eat meat. That I shouldn't eat meat because the cow farts are the problem. Well, I have one thing to say about that. Before the show today, I went out and got a tasty, tasty Baconator cheeseburger from the Wendy's across the street. I'm going to eat it right here. Just like Elon Musk. My mom would be so mad with me at me talking with my mouth full here. But just like Elon Musk says F you to all the people that won't advertise because they're trying to tell him what to do and what he can and can't say. I, with my cheeseburger, my bacon cheeseburger in hand, am going to tell these UN elitists, F you. I'm going to eat my cheeseburger during the break that I'm going to have here in just a little over a minute. I'm going to tell them, F you. If you're going to fly your private jet, if you're going to fly, you're not even going to consider maybe a paddle boat, anything like that. You're not going to consider any other alternative. You're going to fly your private jet to a festival where you're going to tell everybody else how they should live their lives while you still live in mansions. That I want to know how much your energy bills cost then. I want to know what you're eating at this. Are you going to be eating your plant-based crap? You're going to try to tell me what to do while you're living in your fat cat life of luxury? No. Row your butt to this conference in a boat, ride a bike, do all that, and save the planet your way. And I'll be comfortable here with my cheesy bacon cheeseburger in studio while you try to tell me what to do. Everybody, we'll be right back with more Speechless on Cities 92.9. Okay. Did you guys like that? It's a very good burger. It's a pretzel bun, bacon cheeseburger. It's amazing. I'm having a fun time here. This is my favorite show. I get to eat, and I made it a prop. I saw that that article, and I was like, oh man, this just makes me want to have a cheeseburger now, just to say F you to those people. Man, it's a lot of calories though. No chili on this one. No chili. Mount Everest. That's me, I guess. They all have lost their minds. Take another bite here. I love my life. I'm here. I got some great friends watching right now. I'm on the radio, and I get to eat a cheeseburger as protest to these incredibly wealthy people who are just absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. Because the thing is that they expect everybody to just listen to this stuff and be like, oh, yeah. I actually should probably eat less meat to save the planet. I probably should do that. Dumbasses, no. If they're going to fly on private, like, look at how they live their lives. I guarantee you they are not sacrificing anything for the climate change propaganda that they put out. So I'm going to eat my cheeseburger. And I hope you guys eat some meat tonight too. Next time you eat some meat, like some good beef or something, say, this is for you, United Nations. You globalist assholes. I remember I wasn't on the radio when I said that. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are trying to tell me what to do? I'm going to eat my cheeseburger. Okay, let's see what we're going to talk about next. I love this. If God didn't want us to eat cows, he wouldn't have made them taste so good. Absolutely. Oklahoma chicken cam. Okay. I got a video we're pulling up here for the next segment. It's filling. It's a filling cheeseburger. It's the best protest I've ever attended. Yep. Screw you, United Nations. Screw you. Cheers, everybody. To the United Nations. We eat this one for them. And if you're just tuning in and you're like, what the heck? The United Nations is trying to tell Americans that they should stop eating meat to save ourselves from climate change. So I'm here eating a cheeseburger to say screw you to the United Nations. Doing my part. We will be back here soon, everybody. Probably just about 40 seconds. The next story is that of a Tennessee town that apparently banned homosexuality. We're going to talk about that. I kind of missed this one. This story is actually, it flew under a lot of radars. I was surprised I didn't see it covered a lot more. but it was from probably about 2-ish weeks ago. But it was like this week that some started covering it a little bit. It blew up a little bit on social media. That's how I found it. Okay. We're coming back at the perfect time because I just finished my cheeseburger. That's for you, UN. Hey, Bloomington Normal, and welcome back to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. I'm your host, Kev Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student from Illinois State University, soon to be graduate. Excuse me. I'm full because in the last segment, I talked about how the UN wanted to ban, well, not ban, they want to advise Americans to stop eating meat, or at least significantly reduce. I just got a comment I'm going to respond to in a second here, but they want us to significantly reduce our meat consumption. And so I went out and I bought a Wendy's cheeseburger to eat right for you guys as a protest. And so everybody should eat some meat tonight as a protest to the UN, because all these bigwigs, all these elites, what they did is they flew on their private jets to this conference to try to tell Americans not to eat meat. Yeah, screw you. Not gonna have that. But I also, because I had a little burp that was let out, I ate a cheeseburger, tends to happen. A good listener, Shane, commented on Facebook. He said, "Here comes the methane." Yep, here comes the methane. Well, everybody, you should go check out, if you're listening on the radio right now, I love you guys, but also go check out us on YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. Just look up Speechless with Kev, Google it, first thing that comes up. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends, and you would have been able to, and you still can, you can go back and watch it, but you would have been able to watch me eat that cheeseburger. It was delicious. You should try one. And Wendy's isn't a sponsor or anything like that. They were just the closest place to get a cheeseburger to the station. So that's where I was at with that. But I want to get into this story here. Very interesting. It was kind of talked about. So it's actually been several months that this story has been progressing. I actually had not heard of it until this week when I was scrolling through social media. And it's a claim that a city banned being gay in public. A city in Tennessee. It's the claim that a city ordinance in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, banned public homosexuality. Interesting. And leftists attach themselves when in reality the story is much different. But I want to play you the narrative that certain leftists have been spreading. Take a listen.
A city in the state of Tennessee has banned homosexuality in public. You heard that right. Let me say it again. They have banned being gay in public. The city is Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And back in June, they passed an ordinance against indecent conduct. Now, most people didn't realize it at the time. They did it during Pride, that this ordinance linked back to a 1972 law, which defined various things that were considered indecent. And one of those things is public homosexuality. Now, some people thought that it might have been an oversight, and they didn't think that they would really try to enforce this. But just recently, they actually tried to use it to shut down Borough Pride, a pride festival in Murfreesboro. And the Tennessee Equality Project, collectively with ACLU Tennessee and a few other major organizations, managed to hold a court hearing, and they blocked the law for that specific event. But the law is still in effect. It was only blocked for that pride festivity. And so now the local city council has decided to enforce this law in more places. Now they're turning to the libraries and they're pulling LGBTQ books off the shelves. There are multiple hearings going on right now, and they've already removed some LGBTQ books. This is the kind of law that we have seen in some Eastern European and Russian countries where they've decided to ban being gay in public. And all the outrage that we had for these countries whenever they did it, we seem to be getting no such outrage whenever it's some place in our own country, a state in our own country, a city in our own country that's doing it. The provisions are worse too. There are other things that they say that they can do. For instance, they say that they can define community standards, and anything that goes against the will of the community could be potentially banned or targeted by these laws. Essentially, it's giving them carte blanche to declare things indecent if they feel like it is. This is dangerous. And as somebody that tracks LGBTQ legislation, I expect to see more of this in the future. Drag bans have gone down on multiple places. This year, several drag bans have fallen in court. including in the state of Tennessee. This goes further than any of those. So anyway, I just thought I would let you all know this is something important, and it doesn't seem like the press is really reporting on this. So now you know.
Yeah, I'll agree. I don't think the press was really reporting on it, but the thing that's sad is that this individual, he, she, they, it, not 100% sure, didn't really report on it factually either, along with also having a gap in its teeth the size of the Grand Canyon. But here's the thing: is that this actually got this claim, especially because Gavin Newsom also tweeted about this on November 17th. Gavin Newsom tweeted about this, saying that he said that it was banned. Being gay in public was banned in this Tennessee city, Murfreesboro. But Snopes, which actually traditionally it's their fact checker Snopes, which traditionally takes the leftist view on things, factually fact check this. In June 2023, here's the fact check. In June 2023, the Murfreesboro City Council passed Ordinance 23022, a law that purportedly regarded community decency, and the Associated Press described as being, quote, designed to ban drag performances from taking place on public property. As described by its authors, the new law, quote, supplemented existing civil and criminal sanctions for indecent behavior by barring persons who engage in prohibited conduct from sponsoring events on a public space for 2 years and increasing to 5 years where prohibited content occurs in the presence of minors. So most of it is about children. The bill includes, quote, sexual conduct as one form of indecent behavior covered by the June 2023 enhancements to the code. This conduct term, however, was defined by a different part of the city code, which had been in place since the 70s. And that defined terms used in a section of city code detailing criminal offenses related to, quote, exposing minors to harmful materials. The code defines sexual conduct in a way that broadly includes, quote, acts of homosexuality. So at one point, yes, homosexuality was banned in this Tennessee city. But in October 2023, the Murfreesboro City Council took up the issue of removing homosexuality from the list of acts. On November 2nd, a proposal removing the word passed. So they actually removed it. They realized it was outdated. And then the change was set. This is the kicker. This is the kicker right here. The change was set to take effect on November 17th. The same day, Gavin Newsom tweeted that, quote, a city in Tennessee banned public homosexuality and we all missed it. Actually, Gavin, that's the exact opposite of what happened. So let's get this totally straight. Let me summarize it for you. Also, let's get this straight, pun intended. A city in Tennessee doesn't want sexual acts in public. They don't want flashers, public masturbators, people walking around naked with dildos, sex acts in public. They don't want that in front of children, especially. They don't want books in their libraries that are pornographic in the children's section. They're not banning it outright, saying nobody can own these or have them. No. They're saying our city shouldn't sponsor the corruption of our children. So to enforce this, they took up an ordinance from the 70s that did at one point include terminology that banned public homosexuality. They realized that part might be a little outdated and removed it. But the left still will claim that they banned being gay in public. Why? Because this ordinance was used in an attempt to stop a pride parade. Not about the homosexuality stuff. It was attempted to be used to stop a pride parade and a drag performance, but not even because it was gay. It was mainly because if not just at least some of the behavior at many pride parades is listed similarly to the things that they didn't want through sexual acts in public. A lot of those things are commonplace at pride parades. People walking around mostly, if not fully naked, waving dildos in the air, simulating sex acts. And here's the other thing. I want to always be abundantly clear that I'm not saying that all members of the alphabet community believe in overly sexualized public lifestyles. There are people that are straight that believe in overly sexual public lifestyles, and that is just as bad. Just as bad public. Like it's just not something that we need in the public sphere. But isn't it an awful look for your community, the alphabet community, when you have people protesting a public indecency ordinance saying that it bans being gay when the city council made it specifically clear, abundantly clear, that that's not what it does? To that original TikToker that I played, aren't you kind of insulting yourself? Aren't you basically saying yourself that being gay publicly is indecent by your stance? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I don't agree with that. But if you're protesting a public indecency bill or ordinance and saying that it bans being gay, aren't you saying that it's publicly indecent to be gay in public? Isn't that what you're kind of trying to say? Again, that's not at all what I'm saying, but it seems like that's the underlying argument being made by the logic that follows. And along with all that, you were fact-checked by your own side and now by me. So reminder, everybody, do your research. That's not the only thing that the alphabet mafia has been talking about, or has. In reality, they just need a PR makeover. Totally. They need a PR makeover because they are just awful at optics. If that one doesn't prove it to you, here's this one. An Illinois teacher hides a gay club from parents. This came out last week from the Daily Wire. A teacher at a high school in Southern Illinois, so it was pretty local, in Southern Illinois, kept parents in the dark about students participating in an LGBT club, according to emails between school teachers. A teacher at Red Bud High School purposefully excluded parents from knowledge about a gay-straight alliance club by calling it Bubbles and not inviting parents to Google meetings about the club. Emails obtained by parents defending education and shared with the Daily Wire show. While no longer with the district, this teacher's actions show how educators across the country will often push to hide information about sexuality and gender from parents. Quote, "This is all part of the dangerous trend of parental exclusion policies that we have seen take root in school districts across the country. These misguided school officials want to exploit their positions to influence children to hide information from their parents. Parents are the ones who maintain the right to raise their children and should not tolerate schools that want to shut them out of the process." That's Michelle Exner, a senior political advisor for Parents Defending Education. And that's something she said in the statement. So again, do they not understand the optics of their tactics? Last week, I had a commenter on YouTube that inundated the chat for like 30 minutes of my live stream with stuff that said like things like, quote, "LGBTQ people are not groomers or sexual predators," which again is never something I've ever said, nor is it something that I agree with. Some are, but some straight people are groomers and sexual predators. I'm a Catholic and a Boy Scout. I've seen tons of it in the news. Like, it wasn't actually me. I want to be clear. I wasn't the one that was a victim of that. I'm not outing myself like that, but I know it happens. I was well informed. Straight people, gay people, a lot of people do it. And it's gross in every instance. And it's not all gay people. I would never overgeneralize a population in such a way because I believe it's factually inaccurate. However, if you don't want to be perceived that way, if you don't want those stereotypes, then you should be advocating as hard as you are against me against the overt acts of public indecency at pride parades and against the nationwide advocates to remove parents from the conversations being held in classrooms. That's what Gays Against Groomers does. They advocate hard against it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about Gays Against Groomers. Gays Against Groomers is a phenomenal organization. What they literally do, their whole point, so they're mainly LGB. They're not like LGBTQ, blah, 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 blah. They're like lesbian, gay, bi. They understand those. And then there's some like allies. I always hate that term, but allies that they bring in with them too. They're a gay advocacy organization that stands up against the woke alphabet mafia agenda that fuels these stereotypes. If you don't want to be seen as a groomer, if you don't want to be seen as a pedophile or anything like that, then call it out. I call out. Yes, the Catholic Church has a lot of effed up stuff in it. And it's awful. I condemn all of it. The Boy Scouts, again. I mean, I even call them out when they let girls in because, like, how do you think that's going to help the situation? God, no. But call out everything. It's all bad. Grooming children is bad. But if you're out here saying that, no, these are family-friendly pride parades and these are family-friendly drag shows, then you might look like a groomer. I'm going to start playing a game. Like Jeff Foxworthy had, like, you might be a redneck. You might be a groomer if you say that there's such thing as a family-friendly drag show. Or you get mad that kids can't look at pornographic material in a library. You might be a groomer if. Just what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, well, I got to take a break here on the radio, but we will be right back with more Speechless. God bless you guys. God bless America. And up next, is Dick Durbin protecting Epstein? We're going to talk about it. Okay. It seems like some people left. All good. Sundays might get busy, or maybe you didn't want to hear about all that stuff, but just my beliefs. If you don't like it, don't listen. I get it. Just like what Elon Musk said. I'm eating beef, chicken, seafood, and everything that the left wants to refuse us. The more these activists fight again. Yep. Okay. Well, I will be right back, everybody. I got to take a quick bathroom break. Let me pull this up here. And I'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stick with me. And we are back with Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington, Normal, and beyond. I'm your host, Kev Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student from Illinois State University. And I will be graduating in just about 2 weeks with degrees in marketing and political science. And I do plan on going to law school after that. And next week, guys, is going to be every show is a very special show, but next week is going to be a very, very special show. because I'm going to do a lot of reflection, not only on me and my time as a college student, but also what has happened in the last 4 years, how those things correlate. I'm already starting to plan it. Usually I plan my shows. I do a good amount. I have my stories kind of picked out a day or two in advance, depending. I mean, sometimes that there's things that come over the weekend. But then I prep a lot of it right before during like David Paul Blumenstein show or something. It just makes it fresh and authentic in the best way that I can do it. So next week being that it is my final live show here at Cities. It's not my final live show ever. I'm still doing stuff on YouTube. So definitely make sure you go check out Speechless with Kev on YouTube, Rumble, all that fun stuff. Like the channel, subscribe, comment, share, like the videos, everything like that. Support as much as you can. I'd appreciate it. But it's going to be a big week next week. So make sure you're tuning in from 3 to 5 next Sunday to listen to that. I also want to do a shout out and remind everybody that this Thursday, I'm going to post something to our city's Facebook and my personal pages about it. If you're in Illinois, to check out, come on out to Schrader Hall on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Cabot Phillips from the Daily Wire will be here talking about media, the rise of alternative media, how the media lies to us, everything like that. So as much as you think maybe I myself, Kat Peterson, DPB, all of them do a good job of it, Cabot will be able to really break it down very, very well. So make sure you come and check that out. And I've been covering a lot of different things on this show today. The elites, especially, a lot of it boils down to them. The lies that people spread on the internet and to us. But here's an interesting one. Another way in which the elites protect their own. This one's kind of local, too. One of our own representatives, Dick Durbin, is catching heat in the media because apparently he is one of the people responsible for blocking the Jeffrey Epstein flight log request from actually being seen. Yes. So Senator Marsha, this is out of Fox News. Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee criticized Illinois Senator Dick Durbin, one of our senators, long time serving, for allegedly blocking her request to file a subpoena for Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. According to a post on X, formerly known as Twitter, Marsha Blackburn said, Senator Durbin blocked my request to subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. What are Democrats trying to hide? Blackburn called Durbin's actions, quote, a sad day in the history of the prestigious Judiciary Committee. Senate Democrats have long been trying to undermine the Supreme Court and Justice Clarence Thomas, but want to ignore Justice Sonia Sotomayor, allegedly using her taxpayer-funded staff to coordinate speaking engagements in exchange for selling and promoting thousands of her books. They also don't want to have a conversation about the estate of Jeffrey Epstein to find out the names of every person who participated in Jeffrey Epstein's human trafficking ring. Blackburn said in a statement. In a statement to Fox News Digital, a Democrat Senate Judiciary Committee aide told Fox News Digital that Durbin made clear he was willing to stay all day in order to allow Republicans to offer as well as debate the 177 amendments that they filed ahead of the markup, saying that the committee would vote on the subpoena authorization after. What happened? What happened? Oh, man. It couldn't be Durbin's fault. No, it couldn't. But that was a short segment from you guys, and we're going to cover this story and more, like who's the real rhino in the 2024 Republican presidential race? We know like Chris Christie and stuff, but he's got no chance. Is there another? We're going to expose that and more in the next segment of Speechless. We're going to keep talking about Dick Durbin too, though, everybody. We're not done with that one. Who was on Epstein's flight logs? And a big reminder to everybody, Epstein didn't kill himself. We know that one. We got more coming up here soon, but stay tuned for more Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. Don't forget, you can text or call in at 309-451-9299. Be a part of the show while you still can. 309-451-9299. We'll be right back. Rita Ann said yes. Yes, Rita. I don't know what that was too, but yes. The sun will be down in 50 minutes, so you got some stuff to do outside before dark, Oklahoma Chicken Cam. Let's see what it's like outside here. You guys can barely see, but it's starting to get dark here. I walked home from work. I like walking. I like going for runs. I like it. And I did it last week home from my show. It was very dark out. I usually try to get somebody on the phone when I do that, though, because it's like a little sketch, Never sure what somebody could do. But, yeah, I walk home. I like walking, even in the dark. Walking's good for you. I see we got some great people watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. If there's any way you'd like to support the show. I also know I got an email this morning. I'm not sure exactly who the viewer was, but I got an email to this email giving me a story tip. I didn't have time to necessarily go through all of it and incorporate it into the show, but thank you. I will look into it. If you guys ever have anything you want me to react to, any ideas of anything, definitely put it there. Send it to me in an email, speechlesskp@gmail.com. I'd appreciate it. Let's see if I have any. I know sometimes I get some viewers on Rumble and stuff. Let's see if I got anything going on there. I haven't been checking my my comments there because I have to go check it separately. I got a few viewers on Rumble. Thank you guys for watching on Rumble. You guys are awesome. I think I got some viewers and stuff too, or some followers, so that's awesome. But definitely, no matter where you're at, check out my YouTube channel. That's where the majority. I put Rumble up there because if I were to ever get banned on YouTube, I'll go to Rumble. YouTube's, and while I call it ScrewTube sometimes because I know that they try to shadow ban me and other creators like me, they have the most easily learnable interface for creators. And for somebody who was never planning on getting into this sphere necessarily of digital commentary, but it found me. It's just easy for me to learn. So thank you to everybody that's tuning in. But we're going to cover that one. We got a few more stories to get to here. And then I'm going to end this show. I love doing my motivational segments. I hope you guys like those too. I'm going to end this show with a motivational segment. Just going through my notes here. I'm keeping an eye on the comments section, guys, too. Don't be afraid. I'll see whatever you guys have to say. Anywhere, anyone, feel free. We'll be back here in just about a minute, everybody. Minute and a half. Let's break open the water. Talking for 2 hours plus. Need to hydrate. It's good for you, hydrating. We will be back soon. If you missed any of the show earlier, I'm off the title story now, the headline. But I have all of that. Obviously, you can go back and watch any of that. I recommend you do. Andrea, I was wondering where you were. I was like, where is she? Andrea, come on. But I appreciate you being here. And we're about to come back here. Want to hear about that. Hey, and welcome back to Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. I'm your host, Kev Phares, 22-year-old conservative college student. Almost not a college student anymore. Also, almost not 22 anymore. It's crazy. I've been saying that for several months. And so, but yeah, I'm almost not a college student anymore, guys. I've been here for 4.5 years now. Took me an extra semester because I'm a double major in marketing and political science. Finishing up those plans to go law school next year, next fall, submitting applications to that now as we speak, basically. And I'm excited. My life is going to take me in a lot of different directions, but there's a constant, and it's the the values I've professed here on the show since day one. But I'm also almost not 22 anymore. For anybody, if you've been following the show for over a year when it's been on the radio and podcasted, then you would know my birthday is Christmas Eve. So I'm within the month. I'm about 20 days out from being 23, which is an odd age. Like, I feel like nobody, like 21, obviously a big age. 25, ooh, I can like rent a car and everything like that. But 23 is just kind of an odd age. But I guess that's what I'm going to be soon. So, but just figured I'd give you guys a quick life update before I get back into this update. Dick Durbin, Illinois senator, one of our senators here, if you're listening on the radio, and maybe if you're on YouTube, you could be one of your senators. He is blocking, according to Senator Marsha Blackburn, blocking the release of the Jeffrey Epstein flight log. In a statement to Fox News Digital, a Democrat Senate Judiciary Committee aide told Fox News that Durbin made clear he was willing to stay all day in order to allow Republicans to offer, as well as debate, the 177 amendments that they filed ahead of the markup, saying that the committee would vote on the subpoena authorization after. However, several Republicans on the committee allegedly began to filibuster and didn't allow Blackburn to offer the First Amendment to the authorization, the Democratic committee aide said. So it's all Republicans' fault, according to the Democrats. She first moved for the flight records to be subpoenaed in early November. Since we are in the business of issuing subpoenas now, here are a few more I filed, Blackburn told the committee during a meeting in early November discussing possible subpoenas related to the Supreme Court ethics probe. A subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate to provide the flight logs for his private plane, given the numerous allegations of human trafficking and abuse surrounding Jeff. We've got to identify everyone who could have participated in this horrific conduct. Some in the media dubbed Epstein's plane as, quote, the Lolita Express, which was allegedly used to fly underage girls to his private Caribbean island, in addition to other locations around the world. Epstein pleaded not guilty to charges of sex trafficking and sex trafficking conspiracy in July 2019 in New York court, and he was later found dead in his jail cell located in Manhattan. It was argued that that was a suicide. I am a firm believer it was not. So, Marsha Blackburn claims that Dick Durbin is blocking the release of these flight logs. Why would he want to do that? Who is he protecting? Why don't we already have them? There's more questions than answers, everybody. And the fact of the matter is I don't believe that we will ever truly know the answer of who took these flights, because it was likely, well, almost confirmably, that the people that did are the wealthiest, the ones with the most power, the elites that I consistently talk about. Heck, have you guys not seen the picture that was found on the Epstein Island, the painting of Bill Clinton wearing a dress and heels, draped himself into a chair, like an oil painting? Like, that thing took time for somebody to paint. You think there's also pictures of him getting massages from young women. When you have people like that are pictured doing heavily creepy things, and also with a man who was charged and basically found guilty. Obviously, he was not alive to be found guilty, but Ghislaine Maxwell was. You have those people that are alive, or that are a part of it in some way. Think they would want that released? You think they would want it looked into? And don't you also think that they have the power and the wherewithal to ensure that it never gets seen by the public? Absolutely. They absolutely do. And the chances of us ever being able to actually see those flight logs are slim to none. Interesting story. Just wanted to bring it up, especially as it was more local. Going to take an absolute 180 on this one. This one kind of rubbed me the wrong way. A Deadspin writer, this is out of the Daily Wire, Deadspin writer torched for accusing child of, quote, blackface at a Kansas City Chiefs game. You guys might have heard about this one. absolutely fascinating to me. A writer for the sports blog Deadspin was skewered online after doubling down on his accusation that a child wore, quote, blackface to a Kansas City Chiefs game. The small boy wore an American Indian headdress and painted half his face red and the other half black. Let me repeat that. And if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Rumble, I'm going to just bring the picture up for you guys to see because it's absolutely insane what they are trying to claim. So there's this young boy who goes to a Kansas City Chiefs game and he paints his face, or he gets his face painted with red and black. Small boy wore an American Indian headdress and painted half of his face red and the other half black. That's what happened, as many do. And this Deadspin senior writer, Karen Phillips, spotted the child and penned an article on Monday calling on the NFL to, quote, speak out against this 12-year-old boy, saying, quote, it takes a lot of disrespect two groups of people. It takes a lot to disrespect two groups of people at once. But on Sunday afternoon in Las Vegas, a Kansas City Chiefs fan found a way to hate black people and the Native Americans at the same time. So this adult human who is a writer for a sports blog, this isn't like Teen Vogue where I wouldn't expect them to understand sports at all, calls out a 12-year-old boy, for having face paint at a football game, saying that he's a racist against black people, and that he's also a racist for wearing a Native American headdress. Phillips, the writer, also threw a barb at the NFL, saying that the league has relentlessly participated in prejudice and should have already changed the Chiefs' name. This is what happens when you ban books, stand against critical race theory, and try to erase centuries of hate, Phillips wrote. What about, and I just got a comment about this from one of my favorite fans, Patty, who said, what about all the Raiders fans that would paint their faces black and silver? Were they also not racist? I also saw something, and I don't know if this is actually like true, but I also saw something that apparently this 12-year-old boy was actually Native American. Maybe it was Babylon Bee, maybe it was satire, but if it's true, which I'm not sure if it is, but I saw something that said so him wearing the Native American headdress would actually be him standing up for his culture. But I digress. Also, here's the other thing. Okay. And I want to word this carefully because I want to be clear with everybody. There is nothing inherently wrong with blackface itself. There have been many famous people who have done it for comedic purposes in which it was not in and of itself racist, or it could have been making fun of racism itself, like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Somehow he's never gotten like absolute hate, a lot of hatred for this. But in Tropic Thunder, one of the best comedy movies of all time, Robert Downey Jr., white actor, did blackface, and it was in fact made fun of in the film for the fact that he played an actor who was being made fun of for taking roles too far. There's also been other actors who have done it. Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Billy Crystal, who have done blackface. Look, it's bad if you're doing the characteristic of and the stereotype of a black person. Yeah, then that's racist, but there's nothing inherently wrong with blackface itself, in my opinion. This Deadspin writer here is trying to ruin the life of a child while also insisting that he's a good guy because he believes in critical race theory and telling white people to hate themselves. Look, I'm sorry, but if you're using your platform and your career to hate a 12-year-old for being what any other sports fan is, reevaluate your life. Like, honestly, this was just a waste of this guy's time, and it's so sad. One person on Twitter wrote, this race hustling loser is tripling down on attacking a young kid as racist for wearing a Kansas City Chiefs face paint. Yes, he's tripling down. We've spent decades paying some of the dumbest and most sensitive people alive to produce absolute drivel like this. Who actually, that was a political science professor at Kentucky State University who said that. It's true. The fact that this person gets paid to write this article is beyond me. That person highly likely makes a lot more than I do. And he got paid to take down this 12-year-old for something. This is the other thing of a creation of outrage. Having to find something that's right. This is how you know that these lefties are insane, because they have to search and look for the racism that apparently is so widespread in society. This is why I saw another news article. I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but I got a little bit of time left. Jussie Smollett, you know, the French actor? No, Jussie Smollett. You guys know what I'm talking about. The guy who somehow was a victim of a hate crime in negative 20-degree weather from MAGA people in Chicago while he was getting Subway at like 3 a.m. Yeah, remember that? The hoax, the whole hoax with that? Apparently he actually might serve jail time in an appeal. I saw that as a news article. That's what these lefties do. There's so many instances of it. This kid getting lambasted for having half of his face painted black at a Kansas City Chiefs game. Jussie Smollett. You got Bubba Wallace. Remember the noose hanging in the garage? You got that. You got, what's the Nicholas Sandman back in like 2018 when he was at the Students for Life was called a racist for standing in front of that Native American guy. Apparently he was a racist. Racism is so, I don't want to say it's obsolete, because the racism does exist. There are people that are racist in this country, but it is so minuscule that they have to create these big instances of racism to try to show that it actually exists. I'm getting a call. I only got about a minute and a half left in this segment. I'm going to bring them right on. Caller, you're on with me. Kev, who is this?
This is TJ.
Hey, TJ, how's it going, man?
I'm doing all right.
I only got about a minute and a half left in this segment. Would you mind if you could make it quick? Would that be okay?
Oh, then just forget about it. Don't worry about it.
Is there anything?
Hey,
Anything?
I was just saying that, you said they were looking for it. They weren't looking for it. They were manufacturing racism.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. You have a good one.
Awesome. Thanks so much, TJ, for calling in.
Yep.
I know the time it didn't work out on that, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're manufacturing it. They have to make it up. They have to scour to find even the littlest thing to manufacture it. And that's exactly what they did in this instance. They've done it in tons more as well. And we're going to cover, I got something else to cover in my very last segment of this show today. Don't forget, everybody, I will be live next week. It'll be my last live show in studio. I will still be on YouTube, everything like that, but it'll be my last live radio show in this studio. Big things coming, but stay tuned with me, guys, for my last segment here. God bless you. God bless America. We'll be right back with more Speechless on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal and beyond. This is absolutely true as well. It's intolerable. I mean, again, here's a kid. It's a cute kid. How could you claim that he's he's even like in the framing of the article that was written about it. Oh, apparently we lost connection to my camera. Must be my fault. Give me a hot sec. There we go. I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's hope it doesn't happen again here. I got to fix something else. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. I just got to fix the cord here because I know it would. Okay, I'm back. This studio is not set up to have cameras in it. And so it's, if you guys were able to see it, I have jerry-rigged this thing to work as best as possible with cameras in it. Okay, I got this dumb guy in my comment section. He comes in here a lot, Larry, who never actually listens to anything I say. He doesn't. He just comes in just to troll, which is hilarious to me. You're a funny guy, Larry, but it's not worth you're not worth my time, Larry. You're not worth my time. Last one's a short segment. I'm getting to motivational stuff now because I think it's a perfect way to end out the show today. Larry, if you don't listen, how would you know what I'm doing? You don't actually listen. You've never proven to me that you actually listen, bud. I'm not even bringing your stuff on the screen. It's not worth it. Let's see how Rumble's doing. Anybody commenting on Rumble? I see I still got some viewers on there. Thank you guys. Don't forget to even if you're on Rumble, check out my YouTube channel. I know that you might have abandoned YouTube. That's just where I post most of my content. My Rumble is kind of my backup, but I still love it. I love it. It's just not as easy to use as YouTube. YouTube makes everything a lot easier. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, everybody, all that fun stuff. Share it, especially. Share it with someone who'll like it, and then share it with someone who'll hate it. Because that's always fun, right? All that fun stuff. One more segment here on the radio, everybody. We are almost done for this week, but don't forget, next week is going to be a big show for me. Kind of emotional. I know I'm not usually the most emotional guy unless it's anger. That's like one of my most common emotions that I have on the show. But I like this. This is what I'm going to do. That's the one I'm going to put up there. This is my advice to everybody. If you want to hate on something I say and don't want to actually like listen or have a conversation about it, then do this. Then do that. Do what Andrea said. Get your own camera. Find your own show. Get your own mic. I'm always open to a conversation. And Larry, I put my email up all the time. If you would like to schedule a time in which we can have a recorded interview that you will get all the access to as well. You can put it anywhere you want. I will do it. I will do it. All you got to do is send me an email to that. We can talk about pretty much anything you want to talk about. Anything. We can have a conversation about it. But I have a few rules. My first is it's got to be respectful. It's got to be respectful. 2, just don't be a dick. Which honestly covers pretty much all of it. Be respectful and don't be a dick. Larry keeps saying things that are factually inaccurate. I'm going into an industry that my dad had nothing to do with. Nobody in my family has ever gone to law school or ever been a lawyer. How am I riding off anybody's coattails, Larry? I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody's going to break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Hey, everybody. My name's Kev Phares. I'm the host here on Speechless every Sunday from 3 to 5 p.m. Next week will be my last live show in studio. I will still have pre-recorded content for you guys. But if you want to make sure you don't miss a minute of anything and you still want to see me doing live things, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Speechless with Kev. I'm also on Rumble. All you got to do is just Google Speechless with Kev. It'll be one of the first things that comes up. And to make sure you don't miss a minute of any of that, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. Definitely subscribe, ring that notification bell, hit it to all, everything like that. Now, if you know me, you know that I've recently gotten more into motivational segments. I usually do it at the end of the first hour I thought this week it would be best for me to do it at the end of the second hour. I feel like there's a lot. I think a lot. It's been brought to my attention, especially recently, that I am what is called an overthinker. I overthink a lot. Keeps me up at night. I think a lot. And it's both a blessing and a curse because I ponder some big questions. And I'm always thinking about something. And one of the things yesterday I came to a serious realization, because I've also talked about during my motivational segments of how in like the last 8-ish months, 7 or 8 months, weight loss was a big thing for me. And I know I just downed a cheeseburger earlier in the protests of the UN, but don't worry, I was counting my calories. I'm still working out. I'm going to offset it with my runs this week. But weight loss was a big thing to me. I go out every day. I do minimum 5 to 7 miles, sometimes higher. Last week during Thanksgiving, I did a half marathon, my first one. And weight loss has become super, super important to me, but it's also really helped with my overthinking. Overthinking for me used to be a thing that would push me, or would push me to anxiety and stress. And then when I channeled it into an opportunity during like my runs to really think about the things that are going on in my life, it has given me a wealth of understanding. And what do I mean by that? Well, my biggest piece of motivation for you guys, or my biggest piece of advice for maybe when you're trying to do something, whether it's bettering yourself in any way, shape, or form, is focus on reflection. Take moments to genuinely think about how you got to where you are. Because that's what I was doing on my run yesterday. Yesterday, I did about 6 miles, 6 to 7. And throughout the whole thing, I had a phone call with my mom at one point too, after I started having some realizations. One of my good buddies, Josh, who you guys have heard on the show before, because I was just thinking about it. And I was like, man, I'm coming to a point where a chapter in my life is closing and another one is beginning. I'm graduating college. I'm going to have a job, a different job for several months, and then I'm going to go to law school. A major, major chapter of my life is closing. A major chapter in which I grew up a lot. I'm wildly different than when I was the little 18-year-old kid starting at Illinois State University to where I am now as almost 23-year-old college graduate. And thinking about every person that had an effect on my growing up, on starting this radio show, on my political involvement, everything like that. It's so, so important. I had even more to this because I'm really big into philosophy and I read a lot. But I'll leave you guys with this as I'm coming to the end of the show here, because it's telling me I got like 30 seconds left, and then it bumps me off for Chandler and Swan after this. But Socrates said in Plato's The Apology, I recommend everybody read it. It's not too long. And it's also known as like the Trial of Socrates. In Plato's The Apology, Socrates says, the unexamined life is not worth living. The unexamined life is not worth living. If you want to know how you can continuously better yourself from where you're at right now, reflect and take time to reflect. Just my 2 cents. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back next week for my last live show here. Don't forget to be here. It's going to be a period of reflection, but it's also going to be looking to the future. The best is yet to come, and you're going to see that next week. God bless you. God bless America. And until next time, you've been watching or listening to Speechless. Okay, everybody. I am coming to the end of the show. I hope you guys got something out of that. Next week is, like I said, going to be a great period of reflection. Mark your calendars. I'll get the live stream set up probably Friday or Saturday. It'll air next Sunday, 3 to 5. I'll be live. It's going to be really important to me. It's probably going to be, to me, one of a very, very important show. I have a lot that I'm prepping for it. A lot of things I want to say, a lot of thank yous. But again, the best is yet to come. We're only getting bigger here. And that's so much because of you guys. So please don't forget, like I always say, like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, hit it to all, comment what you think in the regular comments too, not just the live stream comments, and then share it with your friends, because that's what we're doing. We're building the Speechless Nation here. This is something for all of us. I've always said that about this show. It's something for all of us to be able to have a voice in a world in which the corporate media will try to control us. Our politicians and elites will try to control us, in a world in which we cannot allow ourselves to be controlled. So please do all that, guys. God bless you, and find any way that you can support the show. I'd always appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Andrea, I will check that out. Again, God bless you guys. God bless America. And until next time, you've been watching Speechless.